And last time she was a guest. This time she's official. She'll be in every episode. So we're happy to have her.
And until you guys complain enough.
Yes, once we start, we've already started complaining. So, CP, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I don't know how the hell we're going to carry on without Cody. I mean,
I was just going to mention.
Those motherfuckers replaced me. Good thing tonight's game night. So Unfriended Dark Web tells the story of a group of friends having a nice casual night talking on Skype when they all get entangled into some secret society of some crazy mofos because they find out one of them stole the wrong laptop. So the first Unfriended is one of those movies that I will happily eat my own words about. I thought that movie looked like absolute trash. I'm not a fan of found footage movies at all. To me, that looked like another gimmick in the found footage world. Let's just have it happen on Skype. And when I actually went to see the movie, I was shocked at how much I really liked Unfriended. Unfriended is one of those movies that I will defend because to me, it's not even really a found footage movie at all. It's more of just a new modern retooling of a slasher movie with some supernatural elements. I was a big fan of the first Unfriended. Saw the trailers for the sequel, was a little bit confused about how they took all the supernatural and the slasher elements away from it and started going in this more, realistic, grounded tone that they were going for with Dark Web. And I'll be honest, I had the same exact feeling. I was like, this movie's gonna be trash. This is gonna be a cash grab sequel. It's a movie they probably made for $1 million. They're gonna make $12 million the first weekend and they're not gonna care how good the movie is. And I'm here again to eat crow in front of all of you because this movie was pretty fucking good.
Yo! Hey buddy, how you doing? It is game night. Ow, ow! Are you ready for this?
So starting off with what I liked about Dark Web, the thing that I was just talking about, that little left turn that they take with the direction of this movie, getting away from the slasher elements, getting away from the supernatural and the computer ghosts and shit like that, and just telling a grounded story about this society of people that run shit that will come and fuck you up with human trafficking and almost some hostile style elements. Taking that left turn made this movie feel extremely fresh as a sequel.
Dude, this is Dark Web.
What's Dark Web? Part of the internet
Where no one can track you.
It's all about drugs, illegal IDs, even assassination for hire.
They could have easily just carried on a ghost story, or they could have even had the same exact ghost in the first movie and just a new group of kids that she was having revenge on, and the movie would have worked out fine if they did it well. But taking the chance and doing this new direction and really just being a sequel by name only, to me was a very smart decision, and it made this movie very entertaining to see what direction it was going to go and what surprises it may have in store for me.
It's got videos on it, right? Check this out.
And all the style and the direction they took as far as the whole Skype outlook and the layout of their, cameras and how they kind of have everything happen in real time with typing and showing all that cool stuff, all that is brought over into this. And I'm actually a really big fan of that element. I think it makes the Unfriended franchise now really unique. It makes it to where no other movie feels like an Unfriended movie. And when you get an Unfriended movie, you kind of know the setup, but now it looks like it might even be somewhat of an anthology series where it's going to take place on Skype, but you have no idea what secrets is going to be behind those Skype computers. But just the way that they kind of utilize that, the way that they tell a story and they have character interactions and they use all the technology that we have today to tell the story through Skype calls and using Facebook and chats and everything like that. It sounds like it should be so gimmicky and so cheesy, and for some people that might be, but for me, it's just a really cool modern way to tell a story. I was actually surprised too at how good a lot of the characterizations were in this movie. Not every single character in this movie is going to be memorable or even somebody that you care about. There's a few of them that do kind of get left behind as just they're there for cannon fodder to a degree when the crazy shit starts happening. But there are some genuinely good character moments here. There are some really good setups they have in the first act, like namely between our main character Matthias and his girlfriend who is deaf, and him trying to have this struggle of trying to communicate with her, and she's upset because she feels like he's not going to love her enough because he can't understand what she's saying most of the time. That could have easily been a throwaway plot thread, but that, along with some of the other plot threads involving the other characters, they seem like they should be minuscule at first, but by the end of the movie, by the third act, by the final reel, all of these things have really cool payoff not only for the character arcs, but also just for the story. Very smartly written for a movie that, again, on its surface looks like it should just be some gimmicky little flashy show. There's a lot more under the surface. They actually have a story to tell, and they actually have good characters in place to move that story along.
We have to do something, and we have to do it now.
Who's that?
And with this story that they're telling about this dark web, about this little society of people, this rich people basically who run things, and they're buying humans, and they're, you know, almost like Hostile, they're bidding on all the crazy shit that they want to happen to them. You know, go drill a hole in their fucking skull and stuff like that. It comes out of nowhere, but it still feels like it belongs within this kind of grounded take that they have in this sequel, but it also has some really tense moments. Like, as soon as shit really starts to hit the fan, and these guys are entangled in this web, and you got people coming after you that you have no idea what their resources are, which seem endless. They seem like they could be anywhere within a drop of a fucking dime. They know everything you're doing. They know everything you're saying, everything you're thinking. It goes for some really tense sequences at some points, especially involving one character's death, which was probably my favorite part of the whole movie because I really didn't like the character, and I'll talk more about that, but there's a death in this movie where this secret society takes a hold of the computers, takes a hold of the technology in this dude's room, and basically sets it up to where cops are going to come after him and then make sounds like he is going to be loading up weapons when the cops are coming in. And that's all I'm going to tell you because the way the scene unfolds is pretty badass. But that scene in particular, just the way that they kind of use the style of this movie and use some of the ideas they have with this dark web society's reach was really cool. And it also kept the pace of the movie going along in a nice little clip too. Once the shit starts hitting the fan, I mean, no one of these characters get messed with by the society in the same way. They're not just going and doing the same thing to get rid of them all. It's almost like they're playing with them, like puppets on a string. You get one dude that's taken out in the way I just said. You got a completely different scenario for the next character that they go to kill, and then another scenario completely for the next character. So every single kill scene, if you will, even though the kills aren't like the, we'll say the money shot, the actual kill itself isn't really geared to be the money shot of those sequences. It's more so just the tension of seeing how everything unfolds. Once this person is targeted, and you know this scene is when this person's gonna get fucked up, and you see how this dark web society is utilizing technology and all their resources to ensure this person does not leave their room alive, it's really tense and really cool and interesting to see what's going to unfold. It's like every single person has their own little kill scene that is unique to each other, and you don't know what's going to happen until it happens. And my final positive, I was actually really pleasantly surprised at how many twists and turns this movie had that genuinely took me for a loop. There is some things that they do with the story that will come out of nowhere, and for me personally, I didn't see them going that way. It heads in kind of a cliche direction. You feel like you kind of have things plotted out, and it pulls the rug out from under you and something else is going on completely, especially in the last like 2 or 3 minutes of this movie. I felt like the ending and the little twist that they pulled off really was badass. And just that element alone, because I was already on board for the movie, that little execution right there of that twist that they have and the way that they wrap everything up might possibly put this dark web sequel over the first Unfriended for me slightly. And I really like that first one, so I really thought that was a cool element they had in this. Now, with all that being said, this movie does have a few issues. First and foremost, this is trying to go for an ultra grounded, like almost realistic take on the Unfriended setup. It's not going for supernatural. There's no ghosts or evil spirits or anything like that. This is people doing evil things in the world that we live in. That's what they're going for. And with that, for the most part, they really succeed, but there are some things that really stretch your disbelief. Not only, just the amount of resources that these people have tends to kind of stretch your limitations of your beliefs a little bit, but even some of the sequences as far as some of the kill scenes, even though most of them I think are really successful, there's a few of them where you're kind of like, that was a little corny, that was a little bit like, movie cheating, that was a little bit like camera cheating, and it doesn't really matter. If you're on board for the movie, if you're enjoying yourself, you're not really going to be bugged by that. If you're on the opposite end of the spectrum and you're not enjoying Unfriended, the things I'm talking about is going to annoy you even more. You're going to be like, oh, that doesn't make sense. Oh, that's pretty stupid. So whatever end of the coin you fall on, you will notice it, and you're either going to move on and enjoy the movie continuously, or you're going to hate that part, and it's just going to stick in your mind as another negative. And as far as characters, there is one character in this movie, and I don't remember the dude's name, but you will all know him, because I think everybody that has a problem with this character is going to have a problem with just this character, and it's the conspiracy theory guy, the guy who's really kind of, you know, vocal and obnoxious, and every time that Matthias cuts back over to his Skype chat, he's always going on and on about the government, and the government's trying to do this, and you just need to wake up. That character was pretty obnoxious, you know what I mean? He's one of those characters I would have liked to have heard less from and heard more from some of the other characters, like the British guy who seemed to be like the most tech savvy. He was a really interesting character. I would have much rather seen more screen time with him. But there is the payoff of this annoying conspiracy theory guy having the most badass death in the movie. So, trade-offs. And my final negative, as much as I really like the first Unfriended and as much as I really like this movie, I don't know how much replayability they have. I think that the whole setup of this, you know, Unfriended universe, if you will, the way that you have the Skype calls and the Facebook chats and everything, I think it's a really cool experience to have either in the theater or at home for the first time when you see everything unfold, but I don't really know how much replayability that experience has. I don't know if the first 30 to 40 minutes of this movie, when it's all set up and it's kind of just getting to know the characters and it's kind of about, you know, seeing how the technology they're about to use in this movie is working and them kind of, you know, getting you fastened into your seatbelts for what Unfriended does and the way that it does it. I don't know if these movies will have the same type of punch that they have the first time, the second time, or the third time, or the fourth time.
I can hear you. Are you still
Kelly,
there?
I can't see you.
But all in all, guys, I really enjoyed Unfriended Dark Web. I did not expect to. Just like with the first Unfriended, the marketing campaign to me was just garbage. This movie looked like shit on a stick. And I went and saw it, and like I said, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good sequel. I thought it was a cool direction to take. I would really welcome another Unfriended movie as long as it's on par with these first two. And I will say, if you are a fan of the first Unfriended, I don't see any reason why you would not be a fan of this one. And the flip side of that, if you didn't like the first Unfriended, you might not like this one, except for the possibility that the supernatural elements turned you off and this realistic take might be a little bit better fit for you. But you know who you are. If you like the Unfriended, you'll like Unfriended Dark Web. If you didn't, probably not going to want to waste your time. So if you are a fan of the first Unfriended, definitely go and check this thing out this weekend. I think this is a really cool, interesting sequel with some surprises in store, and it's one of the bigger surprises that I've had so far this year. So definitely go out and check it out in the theaters. So what do you guys think of Unfriended Dark Web? Are you a fan of this sequel? Were you a fan of the first movie? Put all of your thoughts down below on both of the Unfriended movies and we will talk about it. Please like and share this video. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. If you guys want to check out social media links, I've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Spreadshirt for Cody Leach merchandise like this one right here, and my Patreon page all down in the video description below, so check that stuff out, guys. Patreon's a great way to give back to this channel and help it grow and get cool exclusive content for your eyes only, such as the ability to choose requested reviews or requested videos for me to do, and the Blu-ray digital copy codes that I pick up every single week. Those are patron exclusive privileges, so check that out. And if you guys want to check out some more of my videos, you can check out a few more by clicking right over here.